Interactive. Thank you so much for joining us today for our Senior Living Digital Strategies webinar. Today we have our Director of Digital Marketing, Court Davies, who will be covering the 5 critical tactics you need to know for your senior living digital marketing strategy. So I'm going to hand it over to Court. Be sure to submit your questions. We will have a short Q&A session at the conclusion of the webinar. And without further ado, I will hand it over to Court.
Thanks, Emily. How's everyone doing out there? My name is Court Davies, Director of Digital Marketing at Boston Interactive, and we have a great presentation for you today. Moving forward, I wanted to introduce some of our guest speakers who are on the phone. We have Carrie Barrett, who is a social media consultant, and we have Roman Bills, Director of Performance Media and Analytics for 8560, both really good friends of mine, and both going to help us out with the social media and analytics side of things. So let's just get going. Topics we will cover today are website usability, search engine optimization, paid search, social media, and analytics. We like to call them the big 5. And again, all of it's going to be focused and pointed towards the assisted living and long-term care industry. So a little bit of background. I'm sure those of you on the phone already know this. The assisted living industry is growing like mad, as are every service growing that services baby boomers. Although the baby boomers aren't necessarily the people going into the assisted living facilities, they're the ones that are putting their loved ones in. So they are, in fact, the target customer. So as we know, there's a huge increase in baby boomers using internet for information. And the need is to simplify that information because they're not really as tech savvy as, you know, the people in their 20s, the 30s, the Generation X, the Generation Y, the millennials. Those people are a lot more tech savvy. So I like this little infographic. It shows the top 5 sources to learn about a topic of interest. And you can see the internet is #1 for baby boomers, which is really quite surprising to some people because a lot of baby boomers are still reading magazines, still doing still reading newspapers. And I know that a lot of assisted living facilities are still doing a lot of traditional marketing. So whereas the traditional marketing is not obsolete, it's a good idea to be in both places because obviously we see here that a lot of baby boomers are going online to find information. So again, that information needs to be, again, easy to use. A lot of them are searching for local solutions. Searches tend to be very local based. And again, digital tends to now be more effective than traditional marketing. Not saying traditional marketing should be, you know, shunned away, but there has to be a good mix of both. So moving on to usability. Website design and usability. This is actually a mock-up of a current client of ours, and we're redoing their website. It's 5-Star Senior Living. They were a tough one because they had 260 different locations. A lot of them were acquired through acquisition, so there was a lot of different URLs. So we really wanted to create a unified brand and a unified feel to their websites. So this is actually one of the first mock-ups of their homepage. Very simple, very clean. Again, the website is the face of your brand. Website usability and user experience is so super important, especially for baby boomers, again, because we want that ease of navigation, ease of use. We want to give them what they want when they get there. So again, clean, simple to navigate. We want to portray your great service. It is very true that a poor website does equal poor branding and poor reputation. So if your user experience is poor or the images on your website are poor or it just looks like an old clunky website, you're going to get a poor user experience out of that, and they are going to portray it's going to portray your brand as being a poor brand. So we really need to think about that. So website design and usability continued. This little image on the right is from an eye tracking lab that we have. We're actually, again, really big on user experience. We actually do testing in an eye tracking lab for each of the web pages, especially the important ones, to see where people are actually watching. What this is doing is a computer screen and a web camera are actually focusing on the person watching the website's pupils and following and seeing where they're concentrating their vision on. And again, this is what we really want to do is figure out where to put those calls to action, where do we put the navigation, what is the main focus of the website. This is really some advanced stuff, which is awesome. And again, you get examples of poor usability, confusing navigation, old and unclear images, hard to find community pages, hard to find calls to action. You'd be surprised how many assisted living websites I've been on that I cannot find a phone number or a contact information. And again, there's people coming to that website looking for your services. We want to make sure that they're out there. We want to make sure that it's clear. Again, your website visitor must know what to do instantly when visiting your site. So quickly, some good examples of what to have on a home page. We like the smiling faces, the clean navigation, the community search, the social media icons. The homepage shouldn't be busy for assisted living. This isn't actually going to be a page where most people are actually coming through. We want to really get them to that community page because that's where they're looking for. They're looking for communities either close to them or in an area where their loved one wants to be. But the homepage is definitely important and definitely portrays your brand. So you can see here the real big call to action is going to be the community search. And again, you can see it's right in this smack dab in the middle of the page. There's a gold a button that's there that says search. And again, it's the main focus and main call to action in this case. So again, the homepage builds brand trust and gives your prospect a good feeling about you. It's important, but not as important as the community page. So what we're seeing with current clients is that the community page is where most of the traffic is going to and most of the conversions are coming from. Because if you're not a big dog like 5-Star, you might not actually know that name. So you might actually type in Sunrise Assisted Living or Brookdale or Emeritus or 5-Star. You might not do that. You might just say, Senior Assisted Living Home in Brookline, Massachusetts. That's really where the searches are coming from, and we want to make sure that we give them what they need, which is going to be what's on these community pages. So the community pages, again, are super, super important. High-definition images of the community. We want to show the community features. Some good things to add are, I like the open houses because essentially what it's doing is it's giving the customer more ways to come in, more touch points. And then let's use some client reviews from either the baby boomers that actually put their parents into the facilities or the clients themselves. And then the calls to action. The strong calls to action on this page are live chat and schedule a tour. Most of the clients that we have from assisted living are really concentrating on tours, deposits, phone calls, and form fills. So that's really kind of the things that we really want the community page to convert with. So then again, there's images of residents and the food, and then you can add high definition video and maps of the community, or excuse me, maps of community information surrounding community if that's pertinent, if that's important. Other critical website needs, Google Analytics and Webmaster Tools to make sure that we're going to be indexed with Google. This is pretty simple. Most websites have Google Analytics, although you would be surprised. If you're going to be creating a new website, we have the 301 redirect, so we can transfer all the old SEO weight to the new website. This is super important. A lot of companies forget to do this. We want to have the blog in the same URL. A lot of companies think that they put a blog on a different URL. This is actually counterintuitive. We want to use that SEO weight to actually funnel people through your blog to your website. So the blog should be on the same URL. And these blogs should be, 300 to 500 words. We'll get a little bit more into that on the SEO section. The community is under the same URL. This is, again, I don't want to call it a mistake, but something that makes it more difficult is that a lot of these senior living and assisted living companies have separate URLs for each community. This is really counterintuitive from a search standpoint. It's really hard to drive individual traffic to those websites. So we want those on a folder system under the main website. Social icons, as we said, Carrie will get a little more into that and why that's important. We want to make sure the forms are working properly. We want to make sure the website load speed is good because, believe it or not, if your website doesn't load for 5, 10, 15 seconds, people are going to bounce off it. So you're going to lose leads that way. And then the dynamic call tracking, which Roman will get into. But again, we have a way now from a call perspective to measure what is our website doing as converting from a call perspective. So it can be from a keyword, it can be from a search campaign, from a paid campaign. All this stuff is really good to track. So getting into digital marketing, the most important aspect of digital marketing is drive qualified traffic to your community pages. I mean, that's really the goal here. Generate phone calls, inform leads for tours, build brand trust through content and social media, capture more business from online resources, obtain market share from the large lead aggregators like A Place for Mom and Caring.com. This seems to be a huge thorn in a lot of people's side. Although most can't complain about A Place for Mom and Caring.com, it's super expensive. It's definitely super expensive to buy those leads, and we know how expensive it is. It's up to 100 to 120% of 1 month's rent, and a lot of times we can cut that in half, or even a third, or even more than that. So again, we want to really lower your cost per acquisition. So let's talk about SEO really briefly. Search engine optimization. You can see here the example on the right is an example from a search engine, a Google result for Denver assisted living. You can see how the title tag reads and the meta description reads. They're both highlighted. So essentially, when you're setting up your website and you're filling out your title tags and meta descriptions, these are super important because this is how Google indexes your pages. These are what you see in the search engines. The better that your title tags and meta descriptions are written, the more likely someone's going to be to click on it. So if done properly, SEO will be your most valuable lead source. Excuse me. SEO builds brand trust and brand loyalty because it's more informational and less salesy. I'm not saying paid search ads are bad. We'll get into that, but think of it more as of an encyclopedia, more of an informational source. It does take time and effort. This is definitely a marathon. This is not a sprint to anything. But what you're doing with SEO is you're building long-term property value. If you have, again, you're not always going to have empty beds, but when you do have empty beds, you have all these lead sources coming in, which is great. And with SEO, we really want to be specific with goals. A lot of SEO companies and a lot of SEO consultants aren't going to be very specific with goals. We're going to say, we just want to increase traffic, and we'll use general keywords. But we want to be really specific. We want to increase your tours, deposits, and phone calls. We want to attribute that to search engine optimization. So on-site SEO, if you're doing a new website, this is going to start 30 to 60 days before website launch. If not, it can be done right away. We want to do the proper keyword research, proper competitive analysis. Again, the competitive analysis should be done on a local level. It should be done, taking community by community and actually seeing which community is in that same community and what keywords are they ranking for, and how can we actually get into that what's called voice. So market voice. We want to actually get more user voice online. Again, talking about the title tags and meta descriptions, those should be done properly, very keyword rich, and they should be the proper length. Content is probably the biggest. We want to make sure there's no duplicate content. We want to make sure there's no microsites out there that are copying your content. And we want to make sure that your website itself is very content rich. Image tags, important. Internal navigation is very important. URL structure. Again, all these things go into on-site SEO and are super, super important for Google to be able to index you properly. That's really what we're trying to do here. We're really trying to make it easy for Google to index you. 301 redirects are what I told you about if you were creating a new website and you're transferring that weight from the old website. The SEO tracking tools, anything from Google Analytics to as advanced as BrightEdge. And then constant testing. We want to make sure that this on-site SEO is working properly, and we're constantly updating and tweaking pages, adding content, updating title tags and meta descriptions, all that good stuff. So off-site SEO. In recent years, this has become kind of the wild, wild west, if you will. We like to refer to it as content marketing or digital PR. Back in the day, you used to be able to buy links. There used to be link farms. There used to be aggregator sites that you used to be able to sign up on. There used to be aggregator article sites like eZine. That stuff all kind of went away with all the Google updates and the Google algorithm updates. So really everything is moving towards being more organic, which is what it's supposed to be. So things like guest blog posts, which Carrie's going to get really into. She's super good with that. Reviews. We really want to get reviews from your clients and from the children of your clients that are actually putting them in the homes, and we want to get those good touchy-feely reviews that we can put up on citation results, we can put them up on Yelp, we can put them on Google Plus business page listings, all that good stuff. Social media content. Carrie's going to talk a little bit about creating a social media calendar, a content calendar. what to put out, how to engage with customers, how to give them the information they need. And then all this really attributes to online PR. And as I said, Carrie's going to get more into that because SEO and social media really, really go hand in hand these days. So local SEO, I'm sure you've seen the map listings before. You'd be surprised at the amount of assisted living facilities, individual facilities that don't have their address and telephone number up on Google Plus business listings. This is huge. You can see here, Denver Assisted Living, they actually have the map listings is actually above the organic listings. So these are actually what you're seeing before the organic listings. And you can see here, it's actually giving you the name, the URL, the telephone number, the address, in some cases reviews. So we want to chalk those up with reviews as well because it really justifies your brand. If people see a lot of reviews, they're more likely to click on it. They're more likely to call you. So again, each location should have its own page with reviews and citations, optimized for local searches, obtain reviews from residents and adult children to use on Google Plus business listings, as I just stated. So SEO conclusion, search is becoming more local, specific for brick and mortar. Location, location, location. It's all about location search, all about very specific search. This is the way that Google is moving towards because, again, we want to make sure, Google wants to make sure that they're learning exactly what's going on with that search. That's what's called semantics. So the semantic research that Google does is they are actually guessing. They're actually guessing what you want to search for. So the more relevant, the more specific it is, the more long tail it is, the more location-based it is, the better for us. We want to get community pages to rank in Google Plus Business, plus organic. Again, organic could end up being your most valuable and cost-effective lead source. And again, we want to take market share from the large aggregators and large competitors. Remember, these guys can't be anywhere. They have to be very general. With the thousands of assisted living facilities, they can't do search engine optimization for every single one, every single location. There's a lot of room in there for us to take some voice away from them. So moving on, we're going to talk about paid search. Paid search, as you know, are the ads that are above organic. As you can see here in this search, assisted living Carlsbad, California, we went very specific, and there's a lot of ads we see, five ads here that are pretty much way above the organic, and it's because Google makes its money on its ads. So over recent years, the click-through rate of organic has gone down. It's still very, very relevant, but the ads are getting a lot more click-through. So you can see here the first two ads are from A Place for Mom and Caring.com. So again, those large aggregators are there taking your business. What they're obviously trying to do, or what they say they're doing, is generating leads for you. But those leads are expensive, and although I'm not saying it's a bad idea, I'm not saying it's a good idea to stop using those leads. What I'm saying is that we can make it more cost-effective to you to actually take a little bit of a piece of that pie and do it yourself. So pay-per-click is a great combination with SEO. We can compete against large aggregators. Very, very simple metrics because we can actually, see how much we're paying per click, per lead, per tour, per deposit, per acquisition, all that good stuff. And then we really want to back and do an acceptable cost per lead. As I said before, I know those A Place for Mom acquisitions can cost anywhere between $3,000 and $6,000 for one person. And those people are staying on average, I believe the statistic is 2.5 years, 2 to 2.5 years in the facility. So that resident is worth $50,000 to $60,000 over the life. So it's worth a lot of money to the assisted living facilities. So what we're able to do through pay-per-click is actually lower that cost per acquisition. So whereas you might have been paying $3,000 to $6,000 with A Place for Mom, maybe we can get it down to $1,000. Maybe we can get it down to $2,000. And over the lifetime, that's huge savings. So paid search campaigns, we obviously start with our Google AdWords account, use Bing as well. URLs for all community pages. We want to make sure that we're sending traffic to the community pages. We want a list of keywords for each community. We want ad groups for each community. This really specifies kind of in a funnel system, in a vertical system of where we're sending the ads to the landing pages, to the keywords. Ad copy for each group with keyword in the ad title. We want our site links. What Google's allowing is to actually add more things to click on in ads. These are what's called site links. And we can put our phone number in there. We can put our link to our blog, our maps. We can put some amenities in there. we could put contact us in there. So it's, again, giving more places for the potential client to click. And again, we want to make sure there's strong calls to action. If you have a great ad that's got great click-through rate and it doesn't convert, you're most likely not using the right keywords, or your landing page or your home page, or excuse me, your community page is not converting properly. So here's an example ad, and here's really what to think. What content in my ad would convince my ideal customer to contact me? As you will notice, the keyword is in the title of this one, Denver Assisted Living. Denver Assisted Living is actually the keyword. You can see it's highlighted. So providing quality care for 30 years, this really qualifies them. Finding the right assisted care now find the right assisted care now is a good call to action. And there's even a site link there, which is a clickable map and a telephone number for the secondary call to action. So you could actually click on that 150 Quebec Street, Denver, Colorado. It'll take you to the map, which is really convenient. On mobile, that number will actually be a click to call. So this is just desktop I'm showing you. These are actually going to show up as mobile ads as well, so that you'd be a click to call. We always want to do testing. We want to develop KPIs, key performance indicators for the campaign. It's going to be cost per acquisition, cost per tour, cost per deposit. We want to consider spending $500 to $1,000 a month per community to test PPC for 60 to 90 days. This is a good rule of thumb, especially if you have empty beds. Once we get that optimized, the community that has the most empty beds, we could shift budget over there. So we can shift budget according to the empty beds, the need for new clients. And then again, we want to constantly update and change the ad copy and keywords to work, to make the conversions optimal. Again, adding to paid search, always bid on your company's name to prevent competitors from doing so. You'd be surprised at the amount of companies that don't bid on their own name. You want to take up space in both organic and paid search, or other companies are going to do it. They're going to bid on your name. They're going to take your business. They're going to take your branding. Exact match keywords will be ideally the best converting keywords for you. So what I mean by exact match is exactly what someone searches in the search engine. So again, the Denver Assisted Living is exact match in the fact that we only want search terms from Denver Assisted Living. There's other forms of keywords like broad match and phrase match, which you will use to actually optimize the campaign in some instances, but it's really going to be the exact match keywords that are going to convert the best. And again, great converting keywords in PPC will be great information for the SEO campaign, because we can use those keywords and say, hey, listen, these convert well in paid search. Let's try to get them to rank for SEO. And then we want to make sure the site link pages have calls to action. If you're going to have a site link and you're going to send them somewhere, you want to make sure there's some kind of call to action. And the PPC conclusion, so like I said, it's possible to cut down the cost per acquisition by half or more, especially if we're talking about a place for mom. You can compete with the large competitors, as I stated. This should be done in conjunction with SEO. And again, we get real measurable data and quick lead generation. So think about paid search as that quick lead generation. If we optimize it, we really have it at our fingertips. SEO is the long-term play, where we're kind of building a solid foundation. So both of those together, really a home run combination. So I'm going to pass the baton over to Carrie Barrett. She's going to talk a little bit about social media in context to assisted living. Carrie, are you there?
I am. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining the webinar, and thanks, Court, for that intro. So we're going to dive in and expand a little bit on social media and digital PR and content marketing, and really how social assists with all the other services that are needed to make sure you're reaching your customer. So word of mouth marketing is definitely more powerful than ever. People are trusting their peer recommendations. They're trusting review sites. The consumer is educated, and they are doing what they need to do to make sure that they're in the loop as far as, former customer testimonials. They trust what their friends are saying, and 92% of consumers say that word-of-mouth recommendations are the top reason that they buy a product or service. 58% of consumers report to trusting businesses which have positive reviews. 72% of consumers surveyed say that they trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. So we're in an age where people are, whether it's their trusted best friend who's letting them know that they've had a positive experience, or a random, Jane Doe that has left a positive review on Yelp or other review sites, there doesn't seem to be much discrepancy between the value of the review. So what we want to do is, make sure that we're leveraging that word-of-mouth marketing, that you're actively gathering positive testimonials to help your cause and your marketing efforts. Alrighty, so next we are going to talk about how do you create a social media strategy. Each business is very different. Each target audience is very different. So what we want to do is these are going to be the bullet points that will help you essentially create a framework for how you should strategically leverage social media for your marketing efforts. So the first thing that we want to do is look at the competitive and industry analysis. So what that is we want to take a look at the situational kind of analysis, get your pulse on the industry, what's happening with assisted living from a high-level perspective. What are some of the key players that nationally, what are people doing, what are you seeing in the space? And then take a look at your direct competitors. So what are they doing well, maybe what are they doing poorly, and what are the opportunities there to help frame your framework for a social strategy. So once you've got kind of your situational analysis figured out, next what we want to do is look internally at your own analytics, your own website, your own data, and your CRM, and take a look at what's actually going on from a social standpoint and how that is affecting your business. So we'll want to look at Google Analytics or Omniture, really any analytics platform that is helping pull data from social into the website. What social referrals are the top sites that are driving traffic to your website? What pages are customers looking at once they come from social media? How much time on the site are they spending? Are they converting? Making sure that we're looking critically at the bigger picture and how social is a puzzle piece into your overall marketing efforts. And once we have that, so we'll be able to see, the top social referrals, maybe they're YouTube and LinkedIn. So if that's the case, then that'll help us really identify how to prioritize the social networks for our strategy. So if YouTube and LinkedIn seem to be the top referrals and they're also the top converters, people are clicking sign up, or they're clicking buy now, or they're clicking for an online pamphlet, those are going to be the places that we're going to want to spend our time out the gate. So you'll want to build out your strategy for each of those platforms and have a roadmap on how you want to leverage them in the big picture. So once we've got our audience, our priorities with our social networks, then we'll also want to make sure that the channel design is seamless with the website and that the channels are well optimized. So when we say social media channel design, essentially what we mean is we want the customer to be able to go from the website to your social media channels with a seamless interaction. We want to be sure that the customer is aware that these are the official pages. We want them to look lived in. We want them to have content on them. And in the optimization side of things, each social network allows you to optimize your page in different ways. So Facebook business pages, for instance, allow different ways for us to add content that will help with search engines, that will help for user experience when they're searching within the social networks. And YouTube and Google Plus are both owned by Google. So there's also ways that we can optimize for search within those platforms themselves to make sure that you're on top of the search rankings with your keywords. And then content strategy. So Court had talked about this before. When we talk about SEO, we talk about content marketing. Having a solid content strategy is really, it's super important these days as we talk about kind of off-page SEO and social media efforts. So what we recommend here is creating a content roadmap. So this roadmap can really consist of your social media posts, so you can map out, we typically like to map out social media content about 2 weeks before the start of the month. So we can start filling out, various promotions that you want to tout, or if there's holidays to cover, maybe you have like a meet and greet, or you've got tours happening. You want to fill out your roadmap so that so everyone can be on the same page in your marketing team. And also then that way you know that you've got consistent content being pushed out, throughout the month. The content strategy also can include your blog posts. It can include any offline media that you may be doing, and just kind of have one big editorial calendar. And also make sure that you're targeting various keywords and you're integrated with your SEO with your content so that kind of all the key players are involved with this editorial calendar. And as a side note, we recommend using a social content management tool. So Hootsuite's a good one, or Sprout Social, that essentially will let you pre-schedule a lot of your content out. So you can spend time, at the beginning of the month creating this content, and then you can schedule it out over the course of the month so you ensure that you've got consistent content being pushed out. All right, when we talk about digital PR and influencer outreach, again, I'm going to expand on this a little bit from what Court mentioned. Essentially what we mean is we want to identify your target audience online, and we want to find who else identifies with those users. So if we have prominent baby boomer bloggers that are in your local area and their audience is in your local area, what we want to do is reach out to them and build a relationship with them on behalf of your company. So essentially we would make sure that we align with their goals of their blog or their column if they're a local journalist. And we'd want to build a relationship, much like traditional PR, so that we can kind of team up to help get the word out about your business. And essentially create a brand ambassador program or a brand advocacy program where we're finding those people who align with your target audience. We're encouraging them to help promote the brand and build these relationships with these people. And then paid social ads. So this is, unfortunately, where social media continues to evolve, and it really is getting into a pay-to-play model where it's very important to have a bucket of budget for social strategy. Facebook at any given time right now, if you have a Facebook page and you do an update, only about 10% of your fans are actually going to see what you're posting. So if we have that bucket to pull from, we can focus on the quality of content and not necessarily the quantity of it. And then we can also create this budget to help promote these posts or promote the content to maximize their overall engagement and reach efforts. And when we say when we say paid social ads, we really are talking about anything ranging from Google+, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, StumbleUpon. There's lots of different ways that you can engage with ads to help get the content out with your social efforts. All right, so social media integration. We've touched on this in the last slide, but to kind of lay it out nicely, we've got 3 main touch points of how social is fully integrated with your overall marketing campaigns and marketing goals. First, we're going to talk about social and SEO. Then we're going to talk about paid, and then your website, which I like to call your content hub. So as far as social and SEO goes, the way that social and SEO blend together, and I love this little image on the right here, we've got the on-site SEO and on-page SEO and on-page social. So the on-page SEO really is the website itself. It's the technical elements. And then the on-page social media is what I like to call our channels, our social channels themselves. So it's Facebook, Pinterest, Google+, YouTube, LinkedIn, etc. And then this off-page is where they intersect. So the off-page content marketing is, we're ultimately creating links back to the website. So we'll leverage what we learn from an SEO standpoint, what we learn from keywords that people are looking for. We're going to help create content, and then from a social media standpoint, our goal is to help drive traffic back to the website. It's to promote the content and get the users back to the site. When we talk about paid social and your paid strategy, essentially what we want to do is we want to look at what's working for your paid campaigns. What are the best headlines that convert? What are, from a display standpoint, what banners convert the best? What is the call to action that is driving the most traffic or the most conversions for your site? And how can we leverage that as best practice for our social campaigns? So we'll want to look really closely at your more traditional paid media and then pull nuggets of that into how we can leverage social media and the various elements and channels that we can pay for social based on what's working in your other efforts. So website and social. Your website is essentially, it's your home, it's your content hub, and we want to make sure that all the information that is on there is easily shareable, that people can pin. If you've got a great infographic on your blog, that people can pin it from your website, or they can share it across their social networks, and essentially help drive SEO as well. So social really is kind of this big umbrella that can help enhance all of your social or all of your marketing efforts. And at the bottom there, we talk about a social community page. And what that is these days there's so many moving parts with social media. You know, there's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's LinkedIn. And as a brand marketer, it can get kind of exhausting when you're pointing people to all these various social networks when really we all know we want them to stay on the website. We want them to spend time on the website and use it as a resource. So what we do here is we'll create a social community page. So this is different than the community page that Court was referencing earlier in the presentation. And essentially what this is this is a hub that will house all of your various social networks. And basically you can drive people to, you know, your brand website.com/community or /social community. And then this will have, it's kind of a one-stop shop for all of your social networks. So you can drive all of your users. So instead of going to facebook.com/yourbrand or twitter.com/yourbrand, say no, go to our branded website /social, and you're going to see all of the various social networks that we have available to you to connect with us. And it's essentially a portal page that will pull all of that in. And in that way, too, you've got a user that can navigate the page and they can see, oh, they have a blog, they have a LinkedIn company page, they have a great YouTube channel. And then the user can, you know, spend time looking at all of the different offerings that you provide, and then they can make that decision of which social channels they want to connect with you on. All right, so the social media conclusion. So all in all, social touches, you know, all of the digital components. And what we want to do is strive to connect with people who are going to help perpetuate your brand awareness and who have enough social clout to be able to, you know, help get the word out about your brand. You know, there's so many people these days that have wonderful blogs or built up social networks, and being able to tap into them and build relationships with them is really a key to social success. And social is infused in everyday communication. You know, it's fundamentally shifted the way people communicate. It's shifted the way people make purchase decisions. And all in all, hope you gained some knowledge about social media and your digital efforts here. And that's it for me.
Thanks, Carrie. Really appreciate you coming out. That was awesome. Again, appreciate the help and the insight on social media. That was super helpful. Next, I'm going to hand it over to Roman Bills, the analytics expert, a good friend of mine as well. Roman, you there?
I'm here, and thanks for having me. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, you know, just overall digital analytics and how that, you know, plays a major role in your digital strategy. So as Court and Carrie have both mentioned, you know, analytics is kind of a cornerstone of all of the marketing channels. You need to be able to prove what you're doing. So as the digital ecosystem has got a lot more complex, converting all of the information you have across all these channels into actionable data has become very difficult. There's, you know, multiple platforms, multiple data types, different, you know, KPIs or, you know, primary data points that you need to be marching toward for your channel. So being able to capture all of that data and process it and get it into a kind of common data structure enables you to be able to really make some reports and actionable data insights so you can drive your marketing programs. And, you know, one of the most, you know, used and popular tools is Google Analytics for media attribution and things like that. So on the next slide, you can see how Google Analytics actually will bring together a lot of different channels and allow you to see how the media performs, you know, not only from a last channel in, but also the first channel in. So if you move to the next slide. Yeah, so on here you can see in Google Analytics really which channels are bringing in both the last touch or first touch. So in having a complex multi-channel, you know, digital strategy, you're going to see customers move from one channel to another. You're going to have them come in directly to your website, then go do some searching on these search engines to see, you know, what customer reviews are. Maybe they go into a social network. and really understanding where that customer first saw you versus the last place they were before they decided to fill out the form and submit to request more information is really important in driving where you invest your media dollars. So you could possibly see somebody come in, say through organic search first, and then end up coming in as a referral through a placeformom.com. Understanding that the customer found you first on the search engine and then decided to go request information from a place for mom can really help you decide on how you talk to that customer the first time they come to the website to avoid them going outside to another place to request more information from you. And recently, there's actually, on the next slide, you can see some new technology that's available for helping managing your overall media strategy. That's the ad server. What the ad server unlocks is basically it allows you to see where your customers are and how you're interacting with them before they ever make it to your website. So you can see if they've viewed your banner or your display ad on various news sites or across the web, then maybe went over to Facebook and saw your ad there, and then decided to come directly to your website. The ad server unlocks all of that data and allows you to see that full path to conversion. You can see the pre-click and post-click. So when you bring together all of that pre-click data from your ad server, merge it with your post-click data you have in your Google Analytics or your Omniture platform, you can really start seeing the full path and how customers are interacting with your brand, and ultimately what's driving them to convert or submit the form and ask for more information. And as recently as the next slide, there's also additional technology for call tracking. Actually, this is the weekly dashboard where you can see that we brought together both the pre-click and the post-click data into a single dashboard, so you can really see the trends of their media performance. And particularly, important in weekly reporting and ongoing reporting is understanding long-term trends versus short-term trends. So oftentimes I see people manage their media on a month-to-month basis and make drastic changes to their strategy based on the last month's performance. Oftentimes it's kind of a knee-jerk reaction based on a short-term trend. So being able to see long-term trends on a weekly, monthly, and quarterly, even multi-year trends is really important in making sure that you don't overreact or underreact to certain trends that you're seeing in your advertising. And on the next slide, I mentioned call tracking or dynamic call tracking for your media. So like with the ad server, it's a new technology that allows you to really assign unique call tracking numbers to all of the phone numbers you have in your display ads, your paid search ads, your website, all of these different platforms and advertising channels, and assign a unique number to each of those users so you know where that customer saw your ad and which phone number they're dialing in on, and understand if that customer converts, which is particularly important for advertising in the remarketing channel, where you can really waste a lot of money continuing to market to a customer that's already called you. They've already asked for more information and qualified you, and you continue to run display advertising towards that person. So being able to push the call tracking data back into your ad server or data management platform and turn it into a biddable action can really increase a lot of saving in your advertising across all channels. And then finally, having a platform that can really ingest all of this data is really, really important. I mean, there's just massive amounts of big data underneath all of these channels that you're running advertising in, and by bringing all of that data together into a flexible platform that's able to integrate with not only your customer management system, your call center, but also just push that information into reporting and back out to your advertising partners to increase your efficiencies can really help quite a bit. So, in closing, I think the big picture in your overall digital strategy is making sure you can track all of the money that you're spending online, because there is tools to do that. And then once you're able to track it, it's making sure you apply the right perspective to the data that you have captured and turning it into actionable insights that marketing teams can really react on to drive more conversions at a lower cost. And that's it for the analytics section.
Nice. That's awesome. Hey, guys, thank you so much for coming. Roman, that was great. Emily here said there's a couple questions that came in, so she's going to read them off, and whoever it's focused towards can answer it accordingly.
Yeah, so a couple of questions have come in. The first one, do you have any examples of the possible increase in leads from a well-executed SEO campaign?
Okay, that's probably more towards me. The question again was, can you give me an example of how your clients, or excuse me, do you have any examples of possible increases in leads from a well-executed SEO campaign? Actually, yes, for sure. Recently, we've done some work with some multiple location clients. I would say within a good 6-month SEO campaign, we saw approximately about 160% increase in tours and about 288% increase in deposits. Don't quote me on that number, but it's around there. So again, SEO, it's doing its job, and we actually attributed those tours and deposits to the actual SEO campaigns and to the keywords. So I hope that answers your question.
Great, thank you. Carrie, I think this one's for you. How much time a day should folks devote specifically to social media management?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say that if you could give yourself half a day, at least one time a month, to write at least a 50% content calendar for your Facebook posts, your tweets, etc. If you can devote about 4 hours up front at least once a month, that would be a really good way to kind of just sit down and brainstorm and map out the content that you're going to push out for the next 30 days. And then from a daily standpoint, you really could do it in about 15 to 20 minutes a day. So checking in, first thing in the morning on all your social channels, seeing if anything requires immediate attention, checking in again either right before lunch or right after lunch, and then one more time for a couple minutes before you leave for the day. And that also includes checking the review site. So if you're on Yelp, making that part of your routine as well, just for social listening and kind of maintenance.
Great, thank you. I think we have time for one more. Roman, can you give an example of how your clients have used attribution modeling to influence their buying decisions?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question, and one I get a lot. Actually, a great example is a group of hotels that we work with, and they're having a hard time timing their investment of media in when they needed to fill their hotels. So when they had occupancy, when they could actually fill the hotels, and when people were booking, how far out. So we actually look back at all their advertising, and the time lag, or the amount of time from the time they initially interacted with our advertising to the time they purchased was actually much longer than we anticipated. We thought that we could go out to market, talk to people, and tell them to come, book a hotel room right away. What actually happened is they came and they looked at the website, looked at deals, and came back 3 weeks later to book the rooms. So we actually, worked with the hotels to move forward our advertising calendars by 3 weeks, or backwards, by 3 weeks, so that we could capture that time lag of each of those users of when they're going to convert, to make it so we can time our promotions to maximize all of the hotel's occupancies.
Great, thanks, Roman. So I think that wraps up everything today. That ends our time. If you are interested, you can download this deck, the presentation, at the link included on this last slide. It's bostoninteractive.com/senior-webinar. You'll be able to view it there and download it so you can reference it at a later time.
And lastly, just to conclude, if you need anyone's contact information, I will send an email, again, a follow-up email from those that are on the webinar. If you need anyone's contact information, including Roman and Carrie, to just chat about either analytics or social media, I'll give it to you, no problem. So again, I want to thank everyone for coming out. It was a great webinar, and hopefully it was informational for you. And again, have a wonderful day.